to usually starts in specialized workshops. First, cement, crushed stone, dyes, and plasticizers are mixed. The mixture is then processed on a vibrating table, cast into molds, and let to harden. When the paving tiles acquire their trademark appearance, they are sent to the construction site. There, workers have to lay them properly on a specially prepared surface. This is a traditional paving method, but the one you see on the screen is a more original way. The workers use a template and mortar to shape the slabs directly where they are going to be laid. The mixture has a thick consistency, it is malleable, and can take almost any shape. If it is properly densified, it won't lose its shape after removing the template. Thanks to this, the workers can speed up the process and reduce the cost of laying the path. It is noteworthy that the templates can be very different. In this case, for example, paving stones are made in the form of 8 bricks. This paving method forces the craftsman to work very carefully. The template is removed slowly so as to not damage the shape of the slabs. They shouldn't be touched during the rest of the process, not even by accident. Roof covering. A rather large number of materials is used to cover roofs. One of the most common is metal sheets. They are usually made of lead. It is a flexible material that can take almost any shape. This is one of its main advantages because roofs often have complex shapes, which makes it difficult to cover them. It's worth noting these sheets are almost entirely produced by hand. It all begins in the production facility. This is where the metal takes on the shape it needs. Recycled metal is used as the raw material. It is cleaned and then melted in a huge boiler. Traditionally, the metal is cast in sand molds. First, a pile of sand is placed on a special steel table. Then, it is manually flattened to create a perfectly flat surface. Amazingly, this technology was invented in ancient Rome but is still used to this day. Liquid lead is poured onto the finished sand platform. Workers remove the excess so that the metal hardens in a thin layer. Then these sheets are cut or bent. Afterwards, they are used to create the roof. Wall finishes. Creative workers, as well as companies engaged in the production of building materials, always come up with new and interesting ways of decorating walls. In this case, for example, we can see the products of the Mexican company Adhitec in action. This is a special powder designed specifically to create original textures on the walls. It consists of cement, chemicals, mineral fillers, and special fibers. When the powder is mixed with water, it forms a thick, dense paste, which is used to finish the wall. First, the worker lays the paste in a dense layer. The finished result will imitate natural stone cladding, so the worker draws the outlines of the future stones using a sharp tool. In order to make them realistic and texturized, the material is layered. The porous texture is created by patting the material with a hard brush. Additional relief is created with the help of other tools. Once the stones have a satisfactory appearance, the only thing left to do is cutting off the extra paste. Another way to decorate a wall is to make fake tiles. In this case, the worker layers the paste in thicker layers again. He then uses the sharp end of a trowel to draw patterns. At this stage, the resulting texture is too sharp. The craftsman uses a regular sponge to subtly soften it. Before the material hardens completely, it must be treated one more time. The worker cuts off strips of material to create the tile joints. This step requires precision, which is why the expert uses a construction level to avoid mistakes. tile production. The technique you see on the screen was invented in the middle of the 19th century when builders learned to make cement tiles decorated with multicolored patterns. The workers who have mastered this technique use handmade stencils. First, the pattern is drawn on paper. Then, pieces of sheet metal are assembled into a template. It can take from 1 to 3 days to create one. The finished template is placed in the press form. Each cell is filled with a 3 to 5 millimeter layer of pigment paste of different colors. After that, the template is carefully removed from the form. The master pours the mixture over the layer of pigment paste, which will become the basis of the future tile. Then a hydraulic press takes over, pressing the two layers together. Interestingly, the concrete tiles are not fired. After pressing, the tiles are kept in special temperature conditions for about a month. The result is a unique and very durable decoration material. Its main feature is that each tile is made by hand, which is a laborious task. Concrete patterns. Almost every city has buildings with their facades decorated with quaint patterns and sculptures. Some people will probably assume they were made in workshops and then brought to the site and glued to the surface of the building. However, it's not like that. The workers cut out concrete patterns directly on the surface of the building. First, the pattern is drawn on the wall with chalk. Then a thick layer of cement is laid on top, defining the outlines of the future decoration. Finally, the sculpting stage begins when the master cuts out the pattern on the surface, giving it an aesthetically pleasing shape. It is painstaking work, and if you started it, you can't just leave it and go on vacation. The entire pattern must be finished before the cement hardens. Barrel vault. The first barrel vaults were built a long time ago by ancient civilizations. They're still popular today, but only the most diligent and responsible workers can build a barrel vault. Metal profiles can be used as beams. It is actually much more difficult to make beams from wood, as in this case. Before starting construction, you need to prepare the wooden beams for work. If you look closely, you will see when the wooden parts are attached to the ceiling, they are already curved. There are two ways to bend the wood: hot and cold. The wood is generously lubricated with glue until it becomes wet. Then it is bent with the help of presses to give it the required shape. During the cold bending, the wooden bar is simply left until it dries. When using the heat bending, the wood is covered with a film and warmed up. This way, the glue dries faster. Once the wood dries out, the press is no longer needed. The wooden beam keeps its new shape. And now, you just have to attach the wood to the ceiling beams and the wall. In this case, a pneumatic brad nailer is used to fasten it.